Funnels can be one of the most profitable things you implement in your financial or insurance practice, but also the most complex. I'm going to give you a little bit of context before we dive in today's training. First of all, it's going to be easy to feel overwhelmed when you start diving into what I'm going to share. And I want you to know it's not your fault and it's okay. And I know that when you come to the end of this, it's going to be almost like for most of you, because nobody really goes into seven-figure funnels in our industry. And I'll tell you the reason why. First of all, most people don't understand what a true funnel is. Very simply, a funnel is a combination of landing pages, perhaps even a website, but very rarely, nurturing emails, videos. And if you're going to go to the preeminent level, podcasting, YouTube videos, free content, that all funnels into a process that indoctrinates people, teaches them what you do, and then moves them into a process where eventually they get on your calendar or they call you. That's what a funnel is. Funnels can be one of the most profitable things you implement in your financial or insurance practice, but also the most complex. One of the reasons why funnels have not gotten their spotlight in the sun is the amount of people who know how to architect, write the copy, and piece together a really good funnel are extremely rare. Now, I'm not talking about the funnel hackers that you might see in, let's say, the ClickFunnels group, or you can find on Upwork. What you're going to find there are people who know technically how to put a funnel together. But when it comes to money, retirement, life insurance, infinite banking, AUM, whatever it is, whatever assets whatever product or service, the nuances of language are so specific that it's almost you have to be a superhuman copywriter to be able to write in a way that compels people, but is also compliant. All right, don't forget compliance. So the amount of people on planet Earth that know how to do that is so small. I've been in the industry 20 years, and I can tell you, there are less than 5 people I would trust that I've ever met. And I've spent well over $3 to $5 million on freelancers, outsourcers, contractors, all with the singular goal to help us generate those 60 million leads that we've helped people generate. My whole team has. It is not easy. So if you haven't seen this before, that's the reason why. It's very rare air that can perform at this level. What I do want to encourage you to think about, though, when you look at this funnel, just think of one idea. So grab your notepads, because we're going to dive in. If there's one idea, one concept that you can grab out of this funnel, you will have done extremely well for yourself. And just take a step back, and maybe today it's not about tactical implementation, it's more about strategic thinking. And as you're going in your journey of building your funnel out, start thinking of the pieces that you're more likely to implement sooner rather than later, and pick the one that looks the easiest to do and make that the one that you start with. Now, normally I don't do this kind of training broadly. And the reason is it kind of overwhelms people, but I've been looking at the comments coming in Facebook, and I've been watching the amazing support here for all of the trainings we do here at the Power Hour and Advisorist. And I think that this industry is ready. We're going to the next level in this industry, whether they're ready for it or not. Yes, it'll be compliant, right? The things I'm going to show you, and it's kind of funny because this funnel I'm going to dissect is somebody who is so highly compliant regulated. It's the most compliant BD I've ever seen in my life, but yet it's approved. So that's really good news for you guys. So you can put down that wall of resistance like, oh my goodness, this is going to be, no, this works. You just have to watch your language. We're going to go into the strategy. We're going to look at the sources of traffic into the funnel. We're even going to break down the emails. This is like something I never do for anybody. Like I do private consulting on a as I select basis. It's $20K a month to work with me personally, where I will completely re-engineer your entire practice. You have to be doing a certain income level to even consider that. But I said, you know what, today I'm going to pull out of that and give this to you guys, because if we're going to help this industry grow, somebody has to step up and take the lead. So that's what we're going to do today. It is a video that I recorded using a bright cursor feature because I wanted to elevate the training, because in some places I go fast, and if you can't see where I'm clicking, it's going to be a little tough. So with all that said, let's dive into it. Here we go.
All right, so in this training, we're going to go over how to optimize this opt-in process in order to increase conversions, and also look at the overall strategy on how we're going to drive traffic to it via podcasting, how we'll use display retargeting, how the email nurturing sequence should work, and how to structure this page so that it becomes an appointment generating machine. Now, in this overall strategy, this advisor wants to use podcast interviews as well as Google Display and maybe some paid traffic. So before we dive into the website, I'm going to bring up my drawing tool. I'm using a simple tool here called Glyphy. It's a free tool that you can use and download onto your desktop and create very interesting workflows. I just find it much easier than PowerPoint or any other tool out there. Plus, it's free. So you can use any tool you want if you want to create something like this. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the circles to represent various traffic sources. So this first one here we have is podcasting. So this is you, Mark, being interviewed by other podcasts. So let's just take this component for a minute. The whole goal of you being interviewed on other podcasts is not just to get likes and fans, is you want to always be dropping your call to action, or what we call your CTA, right? And your call to action at the end of every episode that you record is going to be to drive people to take your quiz. So jumping back to the website here, you've worked really hard to build out this retirement quiz. Ready to retire? Let's find out. So people click here. And the goal is, once they get to this page, they're going to scroll down here, they take the quiz, and they have all these questions. Now, the flow of this quiz on its own is going to need some optimization, but just in simple terms, you want people to take the quiz, fill out the information, hit get results, and then they're going to get a follow-up sequence. So I just wanted to visually show that to everybody so that we're all on the same page. Let's jump back to Glyphy right now and take a look at how that all comes together. So when you're doing your podcast interviews, let me just zoom in a bit here. Great. So in doing the podcast interviews, your call to action, or your CTA, is always going to be take my free retirement readiness quiz at, and then you're going to put in your website. But here's the thing. What I noticed about this is the first change you're going to need to make is we don't want to send people to your domain, 55retire.com. The reason is you have too many things that they can do, too many things to get distracted. You have a client portal, YouTube, contact me, advice. All of these are leakage points, friction points, where you're really taking people away from the core thing, which is, take the quiz. So what I'd recommend you do is you create a subdomain, which is quiz.55retire.com. And I would do something like this, quiz. So I actually don't like that as much as I would like a dedicated domain. So if you want, some other ideas you'd want to have would be like retirementquiz.com. That's probably taken, but you could try something like retirewell.com or retiredquiznow.com. You want to get a domain that's just for the quiz. Retire 55 can remain your core domain, but you're going to want to have a different one which just directs people to the quiz. All right. So let's make that a little bigger here so it all fits in. Awesome. All right. So whenever you're on a podcast interview, you're going to, casually throw in there, hey, for all your listeners, I would love to help you see how ready you are to acquire. Just go ahead, take my free retirement readiness quiz at, and then your domain. And I'll also send you the first chapter of my book. Now, there's another cool thing you did in the first chapter of the book. I'm going to come back to that, but there's a really great bonus you included. So I'm going to add a note here. We'll come back to this insider's checklist or something like that, because you, well, I won't get into it now, but there's something else I think that you could add as a powerful bundle that would really make people want to download it. So just in terms of consistency here, what we're going to do is we'll draw a line from here to here. That just reminds us that anytime you're on a podcast, that's the goal. Okay, so we're not talking about you in your podcast. It's you're telling people whenever you're being interviewed on other people's podcasts, just to be clear. So we'll kind of make that its own color. Okay. Now, the other thing too is I know that you are considering launching your own podcast. So for your podcast, you're going to have a call to action as well. And the call to action will be the same thing. It's going to be at the end of every podcast, or you can casually mention it in every episode. Hey, take my free retirement readiness quiz here, and I'll also send you these extra bonuses. Okay. Makes me think of another idea. So I'm going to go ahead and write the word bonuses here. Yeah, the goal is anytime you give a call to action, you want to make sure that it is really attractive to people, where they are just like, they can't wait to download that. In fact, you want them to feel like they're taking advantage of you. That's how much value you're giving away. If you always lead your marketing like that, where people feel like they're taking advantage of you, then you've got your offer down pat, because you're totally reversing the risk. You've taken all the risk, and you're going to give them so much information that it's going to create that huge bridge of trust between you and them. Okay. So this represents your web page. Okay. So that's your call to action. Your call to action is only what you say. Now, as we back out a little bit here, what we want to do is be directing people to your website. And actually, in this case, you're going to be your landing page. So your landing page is your quiz. All right. So whenever people hear that, I want you to send them to your landing page and not to your website. All right. So this is a good time right now where we can kind of take a pause and jump over to the page itself and take a look at what improvements we can make to the page. All right. So we already discussed the fact that we don't want this to rest on your core domain. Your brand is 55retire.com, but we don't want this quiz, when you're giving it out to people, we don't want you using 55retire. We want you using a domain. Now, it can look very similar to this, but I'd recommend you make a few key changes. So first of all, I would remove all of these links up here. All of that has got to go. All right. You want to make it dead simple for somebody to take an action. There really should be only one action to take on your site, and that's to start the quiz. So I would probably make this smaller. I would actually rebrand this. Instead of Mark Singer, I would brand it Mark Singer and then whatever the name of this domain is. So yourretirementquiz.com. This way people feel like there's a consistent experience. And then you've got a great video here. Let's take a look.
Your retirement guide. And my goal with this website is to share with you what we do with our clients and to see if it brings any value to you as you enter into this next chapter of life, of retirement. The number one question we are faced to take so you can maximize your income.
All right, I'm going to pause the video here because there's a few things that don't show up in this video that I think are okay for your main website, but they're not appropriate for your quiz. So what I'm going to suggest is let's actually put this in the Gliffy. The quiz page itself has its own dedicated video. I'm going to bring up another box and we'll talk about the video there. So the video itself needs to be really short, no more than 2 minutes, and talk about the benefits of the quiz and what they're going to get out of it, and to highlight taking the quiz as the call to action. So on this page, I would you put a short, and the following elements would be here. First of all, congratulate them for taking the first step. You want to, give them that kind of feeling that they're making a good decision by being on this video and already taking this step on that quiz. So congratulations. I did notice that in that last video, you did talk about what your goal is, your goal. That's really not going to help people convert. It's always needs, like you were talking about, my goal, me, I, which is how 99% of advisors speak. But if you want your video to convert, you always have to be talking to you. So in this video, you want to be highlighting the fact that you've made a great decision by being here. Fill out the quiz below. So I do something like this, right? Hey, congratulations on joining my site and checking out this quiz. I want to let you know that when you take this quiz, it's going to be a short process that will really give you clarity and help you know how ready you are to retire. Now, at the end of this quiz, as a thank you for taking it, I'm going to send you 2 valuable bonuses. One is going to be the first chapter of my book called, and then the name of the book. The second is going to be a really handy checklist that will kind of help you take the next step. So whether you want to do this on your own or you want to work with somebody like myself or another advisor, you're really going to have a lot more clarity than most people do when they get into retirement. And I would actually hold up the quiz that you, the sheet that you give them in that download, as well as hold up, a copy of your book. So I'm going to send you the first chapter of my book, and then you put the book down. I'm also going to send you this, and you do that just by filling out the quiz below. Go ahead, take the quiz below, and I'll see you on the next page. So again, it's really short. It's highlight the benefits, and it's also highlight the bonuses, and then restate the CTA. All right, so go ahead right now, click on the link below and get your quiz started, and I'll see you on the next side. Right, so that's what your video should feature on that page. All right, let's go back to the page. So the way that I would organize this page is, again, everything down here. By the way, you've got some really good press here. So I would move all of this up to the top, small, just so that it hits people in the face that, wow, okay, this is an advisor I want to work with. This is an authority. So, you never want to have your brand builders below the fold, we call this, right? So anything below, if I have to start scrolling, that's called below the fold. The fold really stops right here. But if I have to scroll, then I miss all of this. So basically everything underneath, you're going to have your video, you're going to have your logos, you're going to have your call to action. Everything underneath will be removed, because the only thing you want them to do is watch the video and click the button. That's it. I would also change up your headline. Your headline needs to be stronger. It would be, complete the survey now, complete the quiz now to get my 2 valuable retirement bonuses in the first chapter of my book. Only takes a minute. Something like that. You're going to have to test that over time, but you could start with something like that. All right. So in terms of the structure of the page, if we go back to Gliffy, I'll give you a little wireframe you can work with here that you can give to your designer. So imagine, this is our website. So we'd have, the headline would be up here. Just kind of zoom in a little bit here. All right. So your headline's going to go at the top. You're going to have, actually we'll put, this will be your headline. Here we'll put your video. And then underneath it, we'll put your branding logos. Actually, we'll put that closer to the bottom. And And then the most obvious thing that you're going to want to have is to start the quiz. All right, so that's how I would structure that page. I'll just put a little arrow. So you remember that that has to do with that. Okay, so that'll be the structure of how that page looks actually. All right, so this is going to be your new page. You've got your quiz fully highlighted there. You've got no links anywhere else. And you've got your short video here, which people can play. They hit the quiz button and they're off to the races. All right. All right, so let's go back to the quiz itself. Okay. So here again, I don't like how all the questions are here, and we've tested this over and over again, and across all industries, the results are in. If you show people the entire quiz up front, the conversion rate goes way down. So when you hit the button, take the quiz, the only thing you should see is the first question. That's it. Now, I don't know what tool, looks like it might have been hand coded, but there's a really simple tool that you can use called Typeform, Typeform, and Typeform will allow you to embed your quiz, and from there, it'll show just one question at a time. And that's really what I would prefer for you, is one question at a time. Because what happens is when people see all of this copy, they're like, ugh, this is going to take too long. I'm not going to do it. I did think your call to action button was good though, get results. Just remember, as the survey goes, you should have none of this information, no links anywhere. The only thing they should be doing is answering questions, and that's it. At best you have your kind of logo here at the top, and that is it. Once I hit take my quiz, the only thing I should be seeing is the quiz itself. All right. Now I already went ahead and I took the quiz and I hit get results. I put my information in here. The one thing I didn't really like was this constant contact button, because you're basically giving them free marketing. So if there's a way that you can update your account, I don't know if you can remove this, but I would prefer to see this removed if possible. Now, if you do this Typeform, what you are doing, the other thing I would do too is always start with their email address. And you want to say something like, because if you start with the question, sometimes what happens is people start and they never finish. So that's a little more advanced. I'll let you decide whether you want to do that or not. But I always like to have to collect the email address. If I don't collect it right away as step number one, I'll collect it towards the middle. And that would help me get more emails into my system so that I can nurture them. The whole goal of you getting on podcasts and, retargeting is to get emails to add to your database. So you build that, rich client base. All right, let's keep moving. So we covered the quiz. Let's jump back to the actual. Now I'm actually going to go into my inbox right now and look at your email. Okay, so here's the email that you sent out. The question is, are you retirement ready? So first of all, I would change that to something like, your results are in, Make it more of a curiosity inducing headline. So, hi, Jeremiah, I know exactly where you are, where you're going is the first step. So I would really build a bridge here. Thank you for taking the quiz, and I'm delighted to share the results with you, right? Related directly to what they just did, you really want to, keep building that bridge and building that relationship. And based on your response, you are gearing up. You have an opportunity to start planning, take the mystery out of decision-making as you travel on this journey. Best regards. And then a PS, I want you to get started right away. So please enjoy the free chapter. So this is actually a huge, huge bonus. This is why they're here. So I would change this up. First, on the formatting, I would left align this to make it look like it actually came from you. Put a little more spacing because you're probably targeting people who might have a little more difficulty reading. So I found that we get better click-through rates on emails that have a little more spacing between the lines and left align it. So here's your first result. And then I would bring this call to action into the email, something like, as promised, I'd love for you to check out the free chapter and my extra bonus. Now, I'm actually going to go into this because you actually give tremendous value. This is 42 pages here. You've got a nice cover. You've got a couple of calls to action. Here's the thing. I think that this is hard to read. I would try to maximize the space so it's not so much white space. Maybe get your publisher to print, fit to size so that it's easier to read. This page here is key because you want them to subscribe to your YouTube channel. You want them to fill out the form. So this should not be so small. You probably want to make this a bigger page and have big, bold calls to action. Watch my YouTube videos, get help here. Again, big, bold calls to action. So here's where you're going into your copy, which is fine. I'm not going to cover the book actually, but there's something you included in here I thought was very valuable. This right here, your profile. So you've got this on page 8, you got one on page 9. So right there, this could be a bonus. Those 2 pages are bonuses. When you download the first chapter, I'm also going to send you the personal financial investment profile checklist. And then I keep going here. I mean, your copy is you really got a lot of value in here. I could even pull out many bonuses here. I'm going to give you your countdown to retirement roadmap, which will show you exactly what to do 5 years, 3 years, or 1 year ahead of retirement and at retirement. I'll give you the specific steps to take. That could be its own bonus. And then as I go down here, you got your cash flow worksheet as a bonus. You've got your bucket list worksheet as a bonus, your income planning worksheet. I mean, you got like 4 or 5 bonuses here that I would use in your call to action to tell people that. So you've got a little bit of work to do on your call to action there. So remember when we talked about the bonuses, right? All these bonuses should be listed. In addition to my chapter, I'm going to send you these bonuses, this bonus, and you actually want to hold them up on the video when you talk about it. All right, so let's talk a little bit about your follow-up sequence as well. What I'm going to do here is use this. I like using this graphic just to represent a database. It's kind of an old school, what a spinning hard drive looks like. So let's change that up, that color. It wasn't too pretty. Okay. So once people take the quiz, they're going to go into your database. And from there, they're going to get a series of emails. So that first email is the one we already deconstructed. That's where we keep the promise. And then your subsequent emails are all designed to have a specific call to action. And that call to action will be to apply to work with you. Remember, the whole objective here is to get them to work with you. So what we're going to do here is put this is really your appointment engine at work, leveraging your quiz. So in each one of the emails, your call to action should be prominent. Now, I didn't see that in the emails that you submitted, so it's probably a work in progress. But that's really the purpose of this whole funnel, is to get people to apply to work with you. So we're going to go back into the emails here that you submitted to me, and we'll take a look. All right. So in this first email, you deliver the bonus, but I would also say if you feel like if you see that you need help to sort this out, feel free to apply for a complimentary retirement roadmap strategy session or retirement breakthrough strategy session. Again, you can check out one of our classes we did on using evocative names for those consults. So we don't call them meetings, we don't call them chats or anything like that. Or, you want to give them an evocative name. Like, for example, it could be something that comes out of your book. I think you had something, your 7 steps, like they follow the yellow brick road. So you could call it the yellow brick road retirement breakthrough session, something like that. All right. So I know that you sent me all of your emails here, so I'll go ahead and pull them up. Okay, so I got your emails here. So we already talked about this one. I do like that you thought about your pre-header text, which is that little text that shows up that looks like the first line of the email, but only shows up when somebody has your email listed in their inbox. It's not the actual first line, but this is another great opportunity that you can use to tease. It's almost like I call it the second subject line, because the subject line itself should inspire intrigue and curiosity, and then the second one should do so even more. And I actually like this one. You answered, here's where you fall. I probably would shorten this, first name, John, here's where you fall in your retirement journey. Okay, so you already covered the first one. We'll go to the next one. Now it looks as though what you did, which I thought was smart, is based on where people are, you created different stages. Like if they're in stage 1 for retirement, stage 2 for retirement, you got stage 2, stage 1, and this one here. Okay, so it's just a stage 1, stage 2 approach. Okay, this one here is you're gearing up. This one here is you're almost there. So if somebody's almost there, your simple commentaries, you might need help in refining your goals, knowing where you want to go. If you need help with that, again, insert your call to action. If you'd like to help, feel free to apply for, a retirement breakthrough strategy session. Same one here. You're gearing up. You have an opportunity to start planning. Take the mystery out of it. Apply here. Now, in this one here, this is your second email, which goes out 2 days later. And I see what you're doing here. You're driving them to one of your videos. So again, this page takes them to a place where the ultimate call to action is take the quiz again. So we need to fix that. Whenever you're driving people to a video, you want to keep it to a video that will build value and then take them in the next step in the journey. There should always be like a logical approach, right? So if we go back to Gliffy here, if the call to action in one of them is not, the video yet, is not the application page, but it's a video, then that video, just gonna grab this, then that video should have the call to action to work with you. Okay. Now there's different schools of thought on how fast you go for the ask, but if you wanted to keep it really low key, you're giving them a lot of information in email 1. So in email 2, you might just say, look, I'm just going to try to add more value with a video. And then from there, they apply to work for me. And the same formula would work here. You've got your headline, your video, and instead of a quiz button, you're going to be apply to work with me. Again, you always want to keep it really, really simple for this process. So, for now, start with one video that adds value, and the call to action is that you don't need to create a bunch of videos. You just need to start with one. Okay. So again, I would remove all of this. This is not the right video for this, but you can grab another video you've already taken from your fantastic YouTube channel. And again, here you're directing people, to different spots, which again causes that friction, that leakage of traffic. And we definitely don't want that. We want to keep this process nice and tight. So here's where you ask people to subscribe to your channel. That's fine. That's a nice, very soft ask. I think that's really fine. And then here we get into follow your yellow brick road. I don't see the call to action here, but here's where you start asking for that call to action But again, if you're asking people to do that, I would make sure they're going through a bit of an application process so you know if they're really qualified. This is good too. I like how you just, casually just mention, hey, 15 minutes this week. Can I touch base with you? Set your meeting. Yeah, good stuff. So you've got all the core elements really, really well done, Mark. So I congratulate you for that. You got a great design, a solid brand as well. The last thing is I want to address a little bit about the Google ads, the retargeting and so forth. So I'm going to bring this back up. Let's jump back out a little bit. So for Google Display, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be adding a tracking pixel here. So let's just kind of use a different shape for that. So what's going to happen is the pixels you should have on here are Facebook and Google pixels. So somebody comes to the page and they don't fill it out, we can hit them up with ads, Facebook retargeting, and that ad could be something like, hey, don't forget to take your quiz. You're one step away from knowing how close you are to retirement. And that could be a mix of you on video. Actually, that would be really good. You on video, telling people, hey, don't forget, or you could have a really bright image. Those are converting really well right now. But something that brands your face, anything they've previously seen. So whatever this page looks like, or if it has your face on it, if it has your logo, you want to make sure that that visual is there so it's congruent. And the same thing would apply to the Google Display Network, right? So these would be like the little banner ads that you would see everywhere. All of those would direct there. And then finally, YouTube. Because you are on YouTube and you've got a great channel, you'd want to be retargeting people on YouTube as well. So basically, this will help you get a really nice, comprehensive multi-channel strategy where you're on the podcast, people hear your call to action, they're really impressed with it, they come visit the page, they fill it out, they get added to your database, and you keep nurturing them. And then if they come to the page but they never fill out the survey, they kind of hit there, then they got distracted, you can retarget them on Facebook, Google, and YouTube. All right, Mark, so there goes your strategy.